Welcome to Leadership Legacy Radio, where we inspire you to live your dreams, encourage you to take massive action, and be your authentic and genuine self. We focus on 3 pillars. That's empowering youth, equipping leaders, and enriching marriages so that you can go out and dominate your space.
If you're ready to dominate, you're listening to the right show. This is the Leadership Legacy Radio. Now let's go.
Good evening, everyone. How y'all doing tonight? We're coming to you live. This live is brought to you by Leadership Legacy in collaboration with Marriage Cookbook. Drop your favorite emoji. Let us know where you're checking in from.
Yeah, let's have some fun with that. Drop your favorite emoji.
Let us know your favorite emoji. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Actually, I didn't give this Facebook Live a title, but what we wanted to talk about is, did you miss your opportunity? Oftentimes, opportunities tend to come in, what we would call maybe droves. They come in ample amounts, and we don't realize them because one of the things that we tend to not take advantage of is the things that seem very insignificant. We talked a little bit about this yesterday. We talked a little bit about how y'all doing tonight. Basically, ego, and we were gonna basically piggyback off of what we talked about yesterday with ego, and we wanted to allow you guys the opportunity to ask questions today. So ask a few questions, and then also put in the comments what resonates with you. If you have an aha moment, if you have certain things that kind of like, resonate with you or that come up, hey mom, my #1 fan from Philly, always checking in. And so what we wanted to do is make sure that we gave you guys an opportunity to kind of think about that. So how can ego, some people call it ego, affect your relationship? And so one of the things that I have realized is that I really enjoy cutting the grass. But for me, I can't always I can't always cut the grass myself, right? And so sometimes, I don't know if you guys has been here before, but have you ever been outside and you looked at somebody's lawn and been like, wow, that's, a pretty awesome looking grass. And, at times I would kind of like ask, how is it that they got their grass like that? And just like, any opportunity in life, anything that presents itself, sometimes you have to know all the things that it involves to get better at it, right? So cutting the grass is a great example. When you are outside, there's a few things that you need to do to make sure that your grass looks really green and really, really beautiful. So I'm going to give you a few things, and then we're going to use those things and relate it to marriage. All right. So, the way that we're going to structure this out is, you go outside and you get ready and you cut the grass. So for me, I want my grass to look good. So there's a few things that I want to do. I want to make sure I cut the grass. I want to make sure part of cutting the grass is also edging the grass, right? So that's how you give it the nice, look that you want it to have. So the second thing that you can do is you can water the grass. That's how you get that grass to get enriched, to get nice texture and stuff like that. Now there's a few key skills. Hey Kristen, hey Darrell, and one of the things that you want to consider is if you want your grass to be nice and full, nice and enriched, you want to irrigate your grass. And what irrigation does is it puts holes in the grass and it also separates it from old dirt. Now, all of this stuff is important because as you do these different things to your grass, you're going to see it become greener, it become fuller, and it become richer. And then lastly, one of the things that you can do is you can feed the grass. So different ways that you can feed the grass is, using weed and feed. That's one of the most natural ways that, one of the things that people always talk about But interestingly enough, today I was talking to my boss, and he loves, you know, cutting the grass. So it was a great conversation that we had. And, you know, here I am trying to talk to him about, I was talking to him about a situation, and he started bringing up the grass. And I was like, that's going to be a perfect illustration for what we want to talk about tonight when it comes to your relationship. And the last thing he mentioned was making sure that you have iron. So feeding the grass and giving it iron gives it not only rich soil, but it gives the ground the ability to grow the roots combined, and also make the blades come, you know, together stronger. So you get a nice, rich, full grass. And for me, I was like, man, I really want my blades to get bigger. And if you don't know about, you know, grass, this might kind of be like, you know, what are you talking about, Chris? But I'm getting somewhere. So as you look at the grass and you look at the richness, if you don't take care of the grass, there's a few things that tend to happen. So if you don't put iron in the grass, it's gonna look patchy. It's gonna look scarce. It's gonna look very thin. It almost looks like when you cut the grass, like you went too low, right? So that's what happens when you don't feed it properly. When you don't water the grass, it gets brown, right? It's like it's burnt. So you got to make sure you water the grass. If you don't cut the grass, it grows wild, and you may have weeds, and it's gonna get out of control. So how can cutting the grass and taking care of your lawn and learning the importance of watering the grass that you have versus looking at the grass that somebody else has important to your relationship? Well, I'm glad you asked. So think about your relationship. Oftentimes people say the grass is greener on the other side. That is not true. The grass is greener where you water it. So if you think about your grass and you think about the things that you have, what are you doing in your relationship right now? What do you need to cut, just like your grass, to enrich your relationship? So one of the things that we talked about yesterday was ego, right? And the importance of not allowing your ego to interfere with your relationship. Oftentimes what tends to happen is we're too prideful to say thank you, or we're too prideful and we think, you know, okay, she did this, he did this, and they're going to always do it. Just like children, relationships are exactly the same. If you want your spouse to do something and you want your children to do something, you can go about it one of two ways. You can do positive reinforcement or negative reinforcement. For me, one of the things that I realized is that I needed to get better at applauding, recognizing, and appreciating, and then speaking about the things that I valued in my relationship. I really love it when you make X, because we like to eat healthy, and for a moment and a time, Sharita may have thought that, you know, I wanted like certain things. And you know why? Because I didn't reinforce what I wanted. I didn't, you know, tell her how much I appreciated what she was doing for me. That becomes a negative reinforcement. Well, if you're not going to appreciate what I did, then maybe I don't need to be doing that. And it's not that we think that way, but it's almost instinctive. Like, okay, I made, you know, a tomato soup. You come in, I eat it, and I don't say, that was an amazing meal tonight. I really appreciated the simplicity of the meal. It was healthy, it was good, and it was light. I really appreciate you making that meal. Awesome. What tends to happen in our house is when I say that, it gets added to our menu. So like every couple of weeks, you know, she's like, hey, you know, I know that you like this, this, and this. Is there anything that you would like tonight? Because now she wants to do what I did to her. She wants to reciprocate that. She wants to come back and say, Christian, I know you love this. Would you like for me to make that for you tonight? You know, and then for me, it's like, man, you know, she remembers. Like, oh my goodness, she remembers that I love tomato soup. And that's what happens when you listen. So now let's talk about watering the grass. So in your relationship, what tends to happen is, there's certain things that you want to enrich, right? There's certain things that you want to get better. For us, what we realized is that the things that we loved, the things that we valued, unfortunately, we weren't doing them. And it took us a little bit to kind of get it right. And that's why we like to share some of the things that we learned. And so with watering the grass, it's giving the things that you like the attention that it needs. So Sharita, she's very intentional about us spending time together. So what she likes to do to water the grass is she will make sure that we have a lunch date. We always have a date where we just get, it doesn't matter what's going on during the week. We pick out a day on the calendar and we set up lunch. That's her watering the grass. I try to make it a habit of trying to do certain things that I can help with. So in the past, I was not very good at this. And so what I would do is I would inadvertently, I think, negatively impact the relationship, right? And instead of watering the grass, what I was doing is I was irritating the grass, right? I would come home and I would want to be helpful, but the manner that I was doing it in, it wasn't very beneficial to the relationship. So for example, I would come home and say I wanted to help with the laundry. If I had a bad day or if something was going on, what may have happened? I may have come home and I may have not done what I normally do, which is go and talk to Sharita to see how her day was. And I would go straight to doing the laundry. And you know what happened? There was a disconnect. There was no longer me watering the grass because I was trying to be helpful. It was almost like, he's upset because, and I didn't realize, because I hadn't spoken to her, the slight little change in my actions made it seem like I was upset or frustrated, and so we have to be mindful of some of these things that we allow, because if you do that, you're going to in turn create these little habits and rifts in your relationship that are going to affect it negatively, right? Mm-hmm. And so, now let's talk about irrigating the grass, right? So when you irrigate the grass, you bring up these things that are good. And what you want to do is you want to make sure that as you do that, you're going to enrich your relationship. So you cut the grass, you remove things that aren't helping you guys. You water the grass, you want to irrigate it. So to irrigate certain things, you want to find things that maybe you both enjoy doing and find a way to, do that. You may not always want to do something. You may not always initially want to do, like, say, for example, go to the spa. I may not enjoy going to the spa, but by you doing something that your spouse enjoys, you are adding value to them. And then again, we were talking about that law of reciprocity, right? If you give first, people are going to want to repay you. So I don't want you to use this in the wrong way, but if I go and I do a spa day, the next time that I say I want to go to a basketball game or something that I really enjoy, Sharita's going to be like, that's cool, let's do that. And that's what you want to do. So with the irrigation is you trying to find those holes in your relationship that you need to bring up and add new things to. There's gaps that you have built into your relationship that you're not even mindful of, and you got to be careful with that. And so the last thing is feeding the things that you really enjoy and you love. That goes back to reinforcing good habits. That goes back to doing certain things that you want. For me, that can mean, making sure Sharita's car is clean, like before the weekend. It can be helping out at home. It can be her preparing my meals. It can be different things, but finding those things that help, encourage the relationship, improve the relationship. And it's little things that we just don't really understand the importance of it. For me, it's super important when it's meaningful to me when I get ready for work and Sharita is, she has the breakfast ready. She'll, prepare breakfast. She'll make sure my food is ready before I go to work. And then, hey, don't forget today we're going to lunch together. So I didn't pack you. So sometimes I'll look for meals, right? So I'm looking okay, do I have my 3 or 4 meals that I need to eat while I'm at work? And if I have 2 or 3 meals, and I'm supposed to have 4, then I'm like, hey, what's going on? And she's like, today we got lunch. So that's that constant reminder, sending each other messages, checking on each other, calling just because, sometimes, calling, hey, how you doing? I just wanted to hear your voice. And then, and then calling right back and like, oh, just wanted to, see your face one more time. Little things like that, just little things that add value to your relationship, fill in those holes, because oftentimes we don't really appreciate those things. And once you do those actions and you like them, or vice versa, you both like it, you want to share and encourage that by saying, thank you so much for calling me today. These things, as you share them and you cement them in your relationship, they will become consistent habit, and consistency compounds. If you make it a habit of, encouraging, inspiring, and motivating your spouse to do the things that you really enjoy, it becomes habit. And then habit becomes, rituals, and then rituals become your daily actions. So for me, I want to make sure that my wife knows that I love and I appreciate her. She wants me to know that she respects me, that she loves me, and that she wants us to have a meaningful relationship. So one thing that you can do is just remain honest with everything that you do. If there's something that you're struggling with in a relationship, just be honest about it. If there's something that you don't like.
Mm-hmm. And I know, one thing that I wanted to discuss tonight, those are all really good points to, to share, Christian. And those are things that we've, definitely grown to do in our relationship. Talking about appreciation and value, and such a good example with watering the grass, because you always hear that saying about the grass isn't always greener on the other side. The grass is greener where you water it. So breaking it down like that was really good, going into all the details. But it's such a true statement. The grass is greener where you water it. You won't know that somebody else's grass is greener if you're watering your own grass. You won't know that their grass is greener, because I'm too busy watering
taking care of my own grass.
I'm taking care of my own grass.
High five, baby. That's the good stuff. Write that down. Water your own grass.
But it's important for us to appreciate and value what we have. We talked about appreciation and value in a leadership perspective yesterday, being, whatever position that you're in on your job, making your position important, making your position valuable, because if you make it important, then everybody else around you is going to make it important. If you make your position valuable, everybody else around you is going to make it valuable. So it's the same thing in your relationship. If you make your relationship important, if you make it valuable, everybody else is going to make it valuable. If you water your own grass, then your grass will be green. If you want a good relationship, if you want a successful marriage, go after it. The only thing that's stopping you is you. You have to be intentional. You have to water your grass. You have to edify your relationship. A lot of people, I feel like, and, we've been guilty of it, at one point or another. Christian and I have been married. This next month will make 16 years. And I'm so, honored to say that. But it hasn't always been easy. It's been something that we had to be intentional about, and we had to, grow with. Some people look at somebody else's relationship and they think that, oh man, I want my relationship to look like that, or I want my relationship to be like that, and think that it's something that's just supposed to just happen. Like I'm supposed to wake up and just feel so in love with this person, or feel I want it to look like it does on TV. I want it to look like my neighbor does. But it's just like an iceberg. You don't see all the junk, all the stuff, all the work that's been put in under the surface. Everything you see. When we look at people that are successful in life, sometimes we see them on TV and we're thinking, man, this comes so easy to you. You're so successful. You've been a success overnight. And that person is probably looking at people like, no, I've been doing this for 30 years. You didn't know me then. You didn't know that I was,
indeed,
that I was on, the radio, or I was doing these things and nobody was listening. Nobody was watching. When me and my family were doing this together, and, we had to work hard at it as a family. You see me on stage now and I got people helping me. I have people doing things for me. But you didn't see the hard work that we had to do 30 plus years ago. This has not always been the way that it looks. And sometimes we do that same thing in our relationship. We do that same thing in our marriage. We look at other things and we feel like people, and sometimes, you know what? That's not even the case. Sometimes people put on a front, and what you see on the outside is not what's going on behind the scenes. That's not what's going on behind closed doors. So, like I said, it's so important that we value our relationship and appreciate what we have. You put that importance and that value on your relationship, and everybody else will. You will, your spouse will. You have to put that value on your relationship. Nobody else, that's nobody else's responsibility. Nobody else is supposed to do that for you. Nobody else is supposed to look at you and say, oh man, you guys are an awesome couple. You guys got to do that for yourself. And then other people will do it.
And I'm so blessed to have a partner that wants to grow, wants to, encourage and is always, willing to take two different approaches to everything that we do. She's always willing to take an approach of like a 30-foot view, right? A 3,000-foot view. She wants to look up and she wants to see, okay, so what's going on here? Let's make sure that everything looks, that looks right. Like that looks right, that looks right, that looks right. And then she always takes a realistic point of view. Listen, we share what we share with you guys because it's genuine to us. It's stuff that we've been going through. It's things that we've gone through, things that we've grown through. And we don't want to share anything that we're not either, doing in our relationship, creating in our relationship, and building in our marriage. Because we know for a long time, one of the things that we wanted to do is we wanted to make a really good relationship. And what tended to happen is that same thing that we're sharing with you guys. We looked at other things. Well, so-and-so driving this car, this and that. None of that matters. What matters is what you create. And what I'll tell you is and again, I hope I don't get in trouble for this, but social media is ruining your life. And I'll tell you why. We absolutely love that you guys are on Facebook, and we absolutely love that you're watching us right now. We believe that this is adding value to you. We believe that this is going to enrich your right now. But oftentimes, the things that you see on social media is what's stopping you and keeping you right where you are. You get up, say for example, something's going on in your relationship, and you sometimes feel like either Instagram or Facebook has an in your life. You see something and you're like, I wish I had more money. What are you doing with the money that you have right now? I wish I was in a better relationship. How are you making your relationship better? I wish I had this house. Do you appreciate the house that you have right now?
Do you clean and take care of the house?
Do you clean? Listen, we are not going to be blessed or be given anything else until we take care of what we have.
Right in front of you. Yeah.
This beautiful Nubian queen, if I don't take care of her, I'm not going to get another one. And I'm not going to get one better than her. So if I don't take care of her, guess what? I lost out. So when you look at social media, if it's not adding value to you, if it's not building you up, and if it's not encouraging you, I guarantee you what you need to do right now is remove that from around you. That's a unnecessary plague that's going to keep you stuck where you are right now. So Sharita said something earlier, and I want to repeat it for you guys. Watering your own grass, you won't notice anyone else's grass. You better go ahead and water your own grass. Listen, we didn't want to spend too much time on here with you guys. The last couple of Facebook Lives, we've been going pretty long, but we want to make sure that you guys understand, like, this is important to us. We share what we share with you guys because of the difference that it's made in our life, in our relationship, in our children's life. The growth that we've had has been tremendous. And what we want to do is we want to share that with as many people as possible. So, we talked about something that we put out. We've been putting it in all of our Facebook Lives for you guys to have an opportunity. Listen, this opportunity isn't going to be open for long, and we're not providing you guys scarcity and none of that. Listen, registration for the Dream Mastermind, it closes on Thursday. After our Facebook Live is going to be closed on Thursday. We want people that are serious about making a difference in their lives. So whether it's you trying to become a better person, a better leader, better in your relationship, helping your children, this right here is going to be life-changing. And right now, like we've shared before, it's for an exclusive price for everybody that's on our lives, anybody that you've shared the live with, or anybody that's been on one of our pages where the post is. And we're only doing that because we want to make sure that we're showing people the things that we're doing, how powerful they are to transforming your relationship right now. Your relationship with yourself, your relationship with your spouse, and your relationship with your kids. Listen, we want you to value everything that you have in your life. But the only thing that's going to change, and that really needs to change right now, is you and where you are in that relationship. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to be agents of change, all right? So don't miss your opportunity to water your own grass. Don't miss your opportunity, all right? Invest in yourself, invest in your relationship. Make sure that as you begin this journey to create the marriage by design, create the life by design that you want and you know you deserve, that you surround yourself with the right people, you invest in the right programs, and you take massive action.
Absolutely.
Is there anything else you wanted to leave us with? Yep. All that wisdom?
Just appreciate what you have in front of you. And that doesn't mean that you don't set goals in your relationship or in your life, you know, but just value where you are. Enjoy the journey. Definitely set goals, you know, and look at where you want to be in your relationship. A year from now, 10 years from now, 5 years from now. Set goals together to improve daily and monthly and weekly, and try to get better together. But appreciate what you have. Don't look at what somebody else has, because you don't know what they had to do to get there.
And you know what? I'm sorry. I just want to share this. Like, while Sharita was saying that, like, this popped up in my mind, and I believe this is just, you know, just God sharing with me. Listen, if oftentimes the reason some relationships, you know, struggle, and the reason certain things kind of, you know, the reason we struggle is because we're looking at other people's grass. We've already established that. But you ever wonder or seen certain relationships that may, for example, have ended, and then they say, man, I don't know what happened. My relationship is so much better now that we're not together. Do you know why that is? Because now you truly appreciate what you have. Or had, right? Now you see all the great qualities that you saw the first time. Don't wait until it's too late. Appreciate what you have right now. Water your grass. Have a wonderful evening. Go out. Dominate your space. We appreciate you guys. We'll talk to you guys soon.
Have a good night.
Have a good night.